So, we're officially entering into week 2 of the new year. Happy 2026, y'all. And if I'm honest, the start of this year was a little heavier for me. New Year's Day arrived with a full heart and a heavy chest. And that's a story for another time that once I've processed, I'm going to share. But what I will say is this: I'm moving through this winter arc season with a lot of grace for myself, boundaries from others, and clarity. And one thing that I know in my almost 50 years of living is that some chapters don't need to close an argument. They just need a soft, quiet lock. So, week 1 is all about the excitement, right? You have your fresh goals and motivation. And then week 2 hits, and this is when your body is sore and your alarm clock goes off early, and you quietly start questioning every single promise you made to yourself. Well, this video is for everyone who started something in week 1 and is now in week 2 questioning their whole entire existence. So let's talk about how to push through even when it gets hard, because we understand that when you look at most transformation content, it shows you week 1 excitement, and then it jumps straight to weeks 12, which is results. Nobody really shows you weeks 2 through 6, right? But we understand that in life there are so many hills to climb and valleys to get out of, and oceans to swim. So we understand that weeks 2 through 6 is where transformation is happening. This is where you prove to yourself that you are 100 and that you are serious about all things. And so if you're new here, welcome. My name is Yim, and I started this winter arc journey at the beginning of December. And the reason why I started it is because I needed something to integrate my mind, body, and spirit, right? And so that's what the winter arc is. Those are the pillars: mind, body, and spirit. But I wanted to make sure that I was integrating it into a complete system, because we don't want to focus on one thing and abandon another. Our being, is made up of those 3 things. And so in the system, we're focusing on specifically strength training with progressive overload. I do this 3 days a week. I work out with a trainer. I also incorporate Pure Barre and Pilates 1 day each. And so to ensure that I'm moving my body, doing some type of strength training at least 5 days a week. In addition, I'm also incorporating 120 minutes of cardio. And for the mind portion, I'm protecting my mornings for deep learning. Whether it's a new book or a new skill, I'm into content creation now. So it's cinematography, it's videography, it's all the things. And then, of course, I'm making sure that I'm remaining spiritually grounded through it all, because this is the body that God gave us to live in forever. Aging has taught me that self-care is not optional. It's actually foundational. And when I feel stuck, I do not abandon myself. I slow down and take care of what is right in front of me. And that's me, because if I am not where I need to be, and if my mind and my body and my spirit is not up to standard, then I'm no good for anyone. We all know the saying: you can't pour from an empty cup. And when my mind feels heavier than usual, I don't try to think my way out of it. I come back to my body. Y'all know that I'm all about regulating my nervous system. And I do so by moving, by creating, by taking the time to be silent. Whether it's a skincare routine or making your home look beautiful by making a simple flower arrangement, whatever it does, what brings you back to your body? What regulates your nervous system? What makes you feel soft? What makes you feel feminine? What is intentional for you? And you may be wondering, well, what does this have to do with week 2? It's very simple. You have to adjust your standards. What is your why? You have to understand what your why is in order to get through the process of transformation. When I understood my why, I had made up in my mind that I wouldn't be defeated. Week 2 isn't glamorous, but it's honest. And honesty is where real change begins. Some days, the win is just showing up. I've learned that over this past year of me being dedicated to taking care of the home, my forever body that God gave me. I've realized that showing up is the hardest part, and grown women move forward. And movement reminds me that I'm here, that I'm safe, and that I can begin again gently. When I first started this journey a year ago, I wasn't disciplined, I wasn't consistent. So I hired a trainer because money is a motivator. And with the trainer, he takes all of the heavy lifting. I just simply show up. I am held accountable because he's going to be there waiting for me, and we get the job done. In addition, I go to other classes that I pay for. Again, money being the motivator. So this kind of ties into what is your why. And we're not, just strictly using motivation, but if you need to pay for classes, if you need to hire a trainer, whatever you need to do to show up for yourself, you're going to have to just do it. There is no ifs, ands, or buts to it because you're showing up for you. And that is what matters the most. One thing that this body recomposition journey has taught me is that I cannot punish my body into change. I absolutely have to support it. And so I have learned to nourish my body. I've learned that protein absolutely matters. Recovery matters. Fueling my body with whole foods matters. And so what I don't do is overcomplicate nutrition. I eat whole foods. Whether it's making a big pot of an egg souffle that I'm going to eat on all week, or whether it's throwing something in a crock pot that I'm going to eat all week. Or, perhaps it's maybe that I'm going to, take a big slab of salmon and throw it on the grill and cut it up and eat on it all week. Whatever the case may be, I am finding ways to not overcomplicate it, but also finding ways to feed my body whole foods and eating at my house 5 days a week. That is the goal, is to always put nutrition at the forefront of every single thing. Last but not least, we are absolutely going to remain grounded through this year. And we're going to be grounding by any means necessary because that is what is going to protect our peace and our nervous system. And what I have realized is that when my nervous system is out of whack, I absolutely cannot function. And I love to just sit out in the grass sometimes and just touch the grass. This is actually a technique that will absolutely bring you back to your body. And I think we forget to do that. So I am all about the saying, girlfriend, you need to go outside and touch some grass. We're also going to be praying more this year, right? That's part of the pillars. We're going to be working on spirit. And so we're going to be praying more. We're going to be offering up all of our trials and our tribulations to the one that can handle it all. And so I invite you along this journey with me. We're going to get through weeks 2 through 6 and for infinity. See you in the next video. Bye.